Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Spin Cycle, the show for short reviews of music, both new and old, whatever I feel like talking about. So, today I'm going to be talking about the Deftones' latest album, Gore, which came out on April 8th, 2016. The Deftones are awesome, let's just put it that way. They have become one of the most lauded bands in hard rock and metal for their unique sound, for their frontman, for just who they are as a band. They are such a unique band, and people just absolutely adore this band. So whenever a new Deftones album comes out, everyone just goes crazy for it. Chino Marino, lead singer of the Deftones, is one of the hardest working musicians in the business. He has other projects which include Crosses, Team Sleep, and Palms, not to mention some other ones that he's working on as we speak. So with the band as great as the Deftones, it makes for some pretty high expectations whenever they do release a new album. So after 2012's Koi no Yokan, obviously there was some pretty high anticipation for this album. One of the things about the Deftones is that they are a band known for conflict but also collaboration. They actually channel that conflict and collaborate. It's an interesting dynamic. There's always interesting stories about the Deftones and all the turmoil within their band, particularly the conflicts between guitarist Stephen Carpenter and Marino. There always seems to be the two of them going at each other's throats, and yet what we get as a result is something amazing and beautiful every time. Gore is Deftones' 8th studio album, following up Koi no Yokan, as I said, from 2012, as well as Diamond Eyes, which is one of my favorites as well. They've had a string of successes ever since their debut album, Adrenaline, back in 1995. They've had a string of successes. This album was definitely highly anticipated after their last album, which was arguably one of the best albums they've put out. And some of the sound that was established in Koi no Yokan as well as in Diamond Eyes is here. There was a little bit of a tone shift in the Deftones following Saturday Night Wrist, as well as the unfortunate and very tragic accident to bassist Chi Chang. When Gore was released, it charted number 2 on the Billboard 200. That's pretty impressive. I mean, they were expecting 50,000 sold in the first week. They ended up selling close to 70,000 in the first week. So that was a huge victory for this band to have such a high-ranking release right off the bat. Gore is certainly one of the more experimental albums in their recent releases. They obviously changed their sound a little bit with Diamond Eyes and followed through with that with Koi no Yokan, but here, even again, there's a little bit of a different sound. It becomes immediately apparent, too, that they are trying some different sounds with this album in particular. The melody and the aggression, which the Deftones are well known for, is certainly there, but the album itself is a little bit more disjointed and psychedelic. It doesn't necessarily have that Digital Bath single. It doesn't have, that type of song or, Tempest that they had off of Koi no Yokan. There isn't a song quite like that, with the exception of maybe Prayers, Triangles. The album starts off with definitely their most single-worthy song, but then goes into the really experimental elements of the album. And actually, I feel like the second half of the album is a little bit stronger. It's almost like the album gets a little bit better as it goes along, with a few choice selections throughout. But the whole album is fairly consistent. It really is this building story, and it also just has a consistent sound to it. But it certainly does challenge people. You have songs like Geometric Headdress, which really do challenge the listener with this different sound than what you're used to with the Deftones. Or even, there's a number of different styles that are thrown in here. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit challenging if what you're expecting is just like, My Own Summer, Shove It type of song. It's going to be something a little bit more relaxed, psychedelic, and just mystical. Something you're not necessarily going to get on every Deftones album. The 4 standout songs I'm going to go with are Hearts and Wires. That's another one that is really just it's moody, it's dark, it's kind of interesting. Has a great intro, great soft melodic intro. Doomed User, another good one. That one is much more aggressive. It's one of the earlier songs, definitely reminiscent of something that you might have heard on Koi no Yokan, but also, again, the sound there shifts a little bit. Phantom Bride, I just love the hell out of this song. Great lyrics, great music, great melody to this song. It's a great addition to the later half of the album. Great. And then the title track, Gore, which is a fantastic song toward the end of the album. It's another one that really is more on the aggressive side, but channels the melody that you get. This album as a whole really does showcase the best of the Deftones, where you do get aggression, you do get melody, you get both of those elements together to produce this interesting, unique sound. My favorite song, though, just because I've heard it the most, probably is going to go to Prayers, Triangles. It is the most quintessential Deftones song, so maybe that's probably why I'm drawn to it so much. But it is also a bit of a challenge as well, because it starts off kind of with this interesting drum beat and then goes immediately into this almost like ethereal melody to it. So, and then of course Chino chimes in with the refrain. It's no surprise that they picked this one as the single, because it very much is the most single-worthy song. But it is a fantastic song nonetheless. I can't discredit them for making a catchy, beautiful song. Overall, this is definitely another solid Deftones album, but maybe not as impactful as something like Koi no Yokan. I know they're trying something new, but it doesn't always feel like it hits at the same degree that Koi no Yokan did. It certainly has their signature sound throughout, as well as some new musical experiments, but it also more closely resembles Saturday Night Wrist than any of their other albums. Kind of like that album, but a little bit more intricate. And of all the Deftones album, that's probably my least favorite of the ones that have been released up to Gore. Saturday Night Wrist is probably my least favorite. They certainly kind of went a little bit different direction in this one. For the most part, I think it does pay off, but I don't think it has quite the impact that Koi no Yokan or Diamond Eyes had when they were released. My top 5 this week, in honor of Gene Wilder, who unfortunately passed away this past week, I'm going to say the top 5 songs featured in Gene Wilder movies. The first one, this one's pretty obvious. Puttin' on the Ritz from Young Frankenstein. Just a bizarre song in a bizarre movie, but so perfect at the same time. The Blazing Saddles theme, that one, just don't even get me started on how much that song can get stuck in your head. I'm Tired, also from Blazing Saddles, was one of those that really did showcase Madeline Kahn's comedy chops as well as her singing abilities, and Gene Wilder in that scene has a funny moment. Springtime for Hitler, weird song, but it's definitely what made that Producers with Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel, old school Mel Brooks, so powerful and so good. And then you gotta go with the musical one itself, iconic Gene Wilder role, Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's pretty much that is just playing that song is a farewell to Gene Wilder. He was a fantastic actor, great comedian, great writer, and the world is not going to be the same without him. So those are my top 5 for this week. Let me know what you think about Gore, whether you liked it, disliked it. Let me know if you have any suggestions for any other albums you want me to review. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing what I feel like doing. So thanks a lot for watching this episode of Spin Cycle, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to keep up on all of my YouTube videos by clicking subscribe, and if you're already a subscriber, thank you, and you rock. Also visit my homepage at dkessner.com, where you can find out about all my various other projects, including my written works. How about that? You can also find me at my social media handles, so drop in and say hi. And again, thank you so much for all your support. Love you.